Thank you so much. For the invitation, the host president of the Eastern Cape, the technical officials present here, the provincial teams from all provinces, athletes, the sponsors that have made this present, all the dignitaries from far and close. We really appreciate your presence here, including the parents and all the personnel that is here present. I'm standing here on behalf of the Minister of Sport and Culture, Mr. Gaten Mackenzie, from the Department of Sport and Culture, who could not be here with us this afternoon due to other official commitments. But we've come to pass our support in regards to this event. Minister will wanted to do two things. One, to ensure and commit support for the artists present here. And if I was here, I'm sure we made other commitments. But one thing that we wanted to do was to inform and indicate that a fundamental presidential is indeed supported for one reason, because there is intention to take in the 2028 Olympic Games 300 athletes and 50 Paralympians to the Los Angeles Olympic Games. And this is the start of that process, that we're looking at some of the athletes that are here that will be representing us in 2028. We are well aware that since the beginning of the August, swimming has been the backbone of making South Africa shine at the global stage. And it is an important sporting tool, particularly as we look at that project 350, to ensure that the government will provide adequate sufficient support to the athletes, to technical officials, to the organization to be able to sustain and support the participation of athletes in the world stages. We are aware also that this championship is going to be a springboard to allow for athletes to be selected to go to the World Championships. And indeed, we are behind Swimming South Africa to ensure that we provide all the facilities to facilitate that participation. And for the next 3 days, we wish all the athletes a very successful, highly competent competition, and we are all behind you. And thank you, President, for facilitating this. And we're looking forward to having more of these athletes really ensuring that Project 350 becomes a reality.
much, Program Director. Always wonderful to be in the city of themselves of local workers. I want to officially welcome our guests this evening. We have a number of guests, the director from Australia is here. We have John and his lovely wife, Jake here. We have Linda from Rockville, our main stay in terms of funding organization. And a number of dignitaries with us. I think I'm going to go through the list maybe along with me. To the guests, some of you really made this championship because without you there is no championship. About the senior champs is our third or fourth year in the city, and it gives us a great pleasure to work with the Metro area, the local organizing committee, the officials, the athletes, and we look forward to a great championship. This championship, of course, is a qualification for world champs that take place in Singapore later this year. But it's also, you see that many of our young athletes that have come from the junior ranks now participating at senior level are really staking a claim for the road to LA. What's special about this championship is that our supporters, grandstand, and coaches really do a good effort to make sure that we support the athletes. It's important for us to understand the road ahead. We have world champs coming up. We have African juniors in a week and a half's time. We have Youth Olympics in Senegal in 2026. Commonwealth Junior and Seniors in the pipeline. The big one is LA. There's also next year, of course, World Short Championship. But for us, the Canadian cycles in Zulu South Africa, it's all about the pinnacle of sport. Deputy Director General of Sports, these days, alluded to the fact that we are the number one federation in terms of podium performance, and it's most certainly a record that we want to maintain and keep a proud record of our country shine as it was. So, very tough quadrennial for both junior and senior athletes. We have a week's time of soccer weeks. We have our junior nations out on the Western Cape. If you really want to see the young Canadian Federation on the showpiece, that's the event to be. We are very keen and very happy to announce a new partnership in swimming. In fact, there are two. Women's Sport Trust has come on board and has funded 5 of our athletes to prepare their elite preparation. And we hope that this funding can take place in the next 5 to 6 years. And the athletes that will benefit from the Women's Sport Trust is the 2 McMurray sisters in water polo, Ogeshi and Uchi. They are one of our water polo stars. Then, of course, there's 2 swimmers. There's Cassidy Burgess from the Western Cape, and there's your own Myra, which are down in PE. And then, of course, there's a diver with great potential, Zanika Makune. Those 5 athletes will receive support from Women's Sport Trust in their quest for glory in terms of podium performance. And we are delighted to announce that the Women's Sport Trust will be with us for some time in terms of athlete preparation. We are looking to broaden the net in our discussions so that we cover more athletes for support. And I really think Women's Sport Trust for investing in young ladies and young athletes deserves a round of applause. We have entered into discussions with a new partner, it's JBL Wellness. We have John and his lovely wife, Angelique here tonight, and we will very soon conclude some discussions with them. JBL, looking forward to a very fruitful relationship with you. I'm very happy that you decided that swimming is your partnership of drive in Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, in facilities. We had a discussion last Saturday with the Deputy Director General, was present, and a number of senior executive staff in the ministry, including the minister himself. And he has opened a week or so ago the government swimming pool down here. The minister has made it quite clear because swimming is making a big noise about facilities, is to make sure that we engage every NEC in the country to ensure that we do stay updated in terms of facilities. So watch the space and I think the ministry that they will really put shoulder to the now, for the athletes, your time to shine is raising the bar. Push those times higher, make sure that the qualifications for the game that you will participate over the next couple of years is in your sight. Train hard and make sure that you make us proud. A word of thanks again, once again, to our parent community, our local organizing committee, Aquila, JBL, provincial and also national, and again all of our partners in terms of arena and so on, making sure that federations. All that is remaining for me is to get the championships open and swimmers enjoy yourselves, compete hard, let sportsmanship prevail. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fritz. Now, inviting everyone to please stand with me as we welcome the Nimola Track Choir, who will be singing the South African National Anthem with us. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we usher our swimmers all pooling, and we can start with the final session 2 of the SA National Senior Championship 2025. Thank you very much.
Well, what a welcoming we had to Quebec. It is the opening day of the SA National Swimming Championships 2025. What a performance so far. It has been a fantastic start to proceedings here at Newton Park Swimming Pool. We are thoroughly excited to get things underway. So a sensational start to proceedings here in Quebec for the opening day of the SA National Swimming Championships 2025. Earlier this morning, we did have the heats taking place, but tonight it is all about the finals. Here at Newton Park Swimming Pool, we return to the Eastern Cape for what promises to be an action-packed week of glorious swimming as the best of the best take to the water here in Quebec. And by my count, I think we've got about 18 races taking to the water tonight, and it's all kicking off with the women's 200 freestyle, and we'll follow that up with the men, and we'll go through and through until we finish things off with the women's and men's 4x100 freestyle relay. So exciting times ahead, and as always, we've got the A and B races taking to the water. First up, the first race of tonight, we've got the women's 200 meter freestyle, and it is the B race taking place, the B final, and we've got Sophia French, Cornel van Skalkwijk, Jamie Moat, Lisa Kutsia, Scarlett Leroux, Catherine van Rensburg, Lisa Marie Davidson, and Tasman Robson, who are about to get their race underway in what is the opening night of the finals here in Quebec. And with me on commentary, Michelle Graham, who is a doyen when it comes to swimming. Michelle, good evening and welcome to proceedings. Exciting race ahead.
It's going to be really amazing. Here we start with the women's 200 free, as you said, in the B final. As you can see, there are two 16-year-olds in the B final here. I think they are always an exciting ones to watch.
Yeah, certainly so. It's the Eastern Capers. We've got in lane 3, Jamie Moat from the Eastern Cape, as well as in lane 5, Scarlett Leroux.
Exactly, and then of course someone with a bit more age to her, Lisa Kutsi, being the fastest into the B final. It'll be interesting to see what they go through at. We see actually lane 2, that Cornel van Skalkwijk.
Yeah, very, very good start so far for Lisa Kutsia over in lane 4. It's always the one to watch out for in these races, as you see Lisa Kutsia making her way through as they are just over halfway through this race. As they approach halfway, it's going to be a fantastic event as we continue to watch the action unfold here at Newton Park Swimming Pool, and once again playing host to what has been a fantastic host to this event over the last couple of years. And Lisa Kutsia continues to lead matches, the only swimmer to make the turn under 1 minute.
Exactly.
So a good start for her, and she swims out of ticks, as no surprises there really. It's been a great performance over the years.
And then we actually have Catherine van Rensburg, and the interesting thing about Catherine is she swims in the open water as well. She swam at Midmar Mile, did very well there. We'll see her later in the week in the 800. So I think that's a really good, solid start to her 200.
Oh, without a doubt. And they've got one lane to go to these swimmers as they make their way towards home. You can hear the crowds starting to make their presence felt here in Quebec as the first race, the first final of the day is about to wrap up. Lisa Kutsia, can she hold on to her lead? You can hear the crowd willing on the participant. Jamie Moat making a nice comeback over in lane 3, and you can hear the locals going crazy for Jamie Moat as she powers away over in lane 3. Continue to watch out for, you heard Michelle speak about it earlier, it's going to be tight But as we see that it is Jenny Mudd over in lane 3, grabbing what would look like. And as we see, we wait for the results to come through. But what a performance there from the competitors. It really was impressive stuff. You could hear
and
the locals going crazy.
The amazing thing about a 200, it's always about who wants it more. You start to feel that pain with 35 meters to go, and we saw there were about 5 of them in the inside lanes, and they were just fighting for that wall. And it's great to see someone, from lane 3. It's not always, that lane 4 and 5, especially, we don't know how they've come from the heats into the finals, and it shows that you never discount anybody. You have a lane, you have a chance.
And it was nice. You could hear the crowd certainly geeing up their local performers. We're in a coastal city. It's no surprise. They love swimming down this part of the world. And they always gee themselves up for this specific event. It's 5 days of swimming action, as we just watch the highlights coming through now of these competitors. This is the opening event of the night, the women's 200-meter freestyle, the B final. And that was a sensational finish, and it looked as if it's coming through. We'll have confirmation of those results coming through shortly. But what a performance from those competitors in the B final, as we head over to the A final now, which promises to be exciting, as we've got a couple of very well-known swimmers who are about to take the water.
We've even got Erin Gallagher there in lane 8, which adds to our Olympians in the middle of the pool, with Amy Canny and Rebecca Meader, which I'm sure will give us some exciting racing between them. But of course you've got, Kayleen Lotter. She comes from the open water once more. She's already qualified. You've got Hannah Robertson there, being a younger swimmer in the field. You've got Hannah Mouton.
Yeah, it's a variable who's who of the best of SA swimmers here in Rebecca, about to take to the water for the A final in the women's 200 freestyle. And of course, the big thing, Michelle, last year when they competed, the big thing was Olympics. This time around, that's not in the offing. It's all about Singapore.
That's exactly right. And these swimmers, the time that they will be aiming for, you've got an A qualifying time of 1:58.23, a B qualifying time of 2:02.37. Of course, we would prefer 2 swimmers to be going that A qualifying time. And, we never know. We may get 4 swimmers under that 2-minute mark, which makes it realistic that they would send a relay.
Just for the layman or woman back home, just go into a bit of more detail regarding the A and B times. What difference does it make?
Well, the thing is that the A time, which is, I believe, I don't want to get this wrong, I will have to make sure after this, because I know for Olympics it was taken from the top 8 of the previous world champs. They may have made the times a little bit more lenient for this year's world champs, so I can't actually tell you how they came up with them this year, because they do want to, of course, make sure as many swimmers can swim in it. But you do want to get as many people in the A time. If somebody doesn't do an A time, they will then look at the B time. But to make the team, you really want to be going a proper A time.
Okay, so the event that we're watching now is the A final of the women's 200 freestyle, and the time once again in terms of A qualifying time, 1:58.23, and it is looking very tight out in front. But over in lane 4, going great guns, Amy Canny, no surprise, being pushed hard either side of her by the likes of Janae Kutsia and Rebecca Meader, so it's very tight amongst those front 3.
And I expect Rebecca Meader to be the dark horse at the back end. She's a good 200 and 400 swimmer. She swam really, really well at last year's World Cups, and then of course went into short course World Champs. So you can see she's actually made her little sprout there, I would say, her little spring, and we'll see her come off the 3rd wall here and really give it to Amy Canny. There's really nothing in it, you can see.
Yes.
And even Janae Kutsi's now pushing, and she's a 400 swimmer.
Now, it's amazing to watch. You watch these front 3 swimmers. It's the final length that they're going to be taking on of this 200 meter, the women's 200 free, the A final. And they're screaming for the crowd to come through.
You can see there's nothing in it. Janae Kutsi's really fighting for that wall. And as I said, they're all burning, they're all hurting. And here she comes in, putting all the heads down.
Janae Kutsia looking fantastic. You called it, 1:59.09. A terrific performance from Janae Kutsia. And just outside of that A qualifying time unfortunately. She does get into the B qualifying time, as do alongside Rebecca Mida and Amy Kenny. So 3 very good swims from those 3, Kutsia, Mida and Kenny, but Kutsia getting the victory in this A final of the women's 200 free. Great swim.
Well, as I said, I think the nice thing about it is that you've got 3 girls under that 2-minute mark, which really gives a realistic for the selectors to say, you know what, we should send a relay, because the whole thing is that they're probably going to be building up to Commonwealth Games already next year.
Yeah.
So I'd be going, you know what, we've got 3 swimmers under 2 minutes. Let's see what we can do. Maybe send a younger swimmer, give them some experience, and get our 4x200 relay looking good, moving up to Commonwealth Games next year.
Well, I mean, just looking at those 3 names, I mean, we've known what they can do in the past, and they certainly are up for it. And I mean, just going to look, I mean, 3 swims underneath the 2-minute mark, very impressive. Unfortunately, all missing out on that A qualifying time, but within that B qualifying time, all eyes on Singapore. But yeah, a great performance all round. But well done to Danae Kutsia, swimming out of Tshwane. Another great swim from her.
And she's also just finished at the NCAAs for the women in America. So she's actually holding on to her taper. And she really did swim well there. Probably not, swimmers always want to swim faster. So I think she'll be very happy to come here and win her first national title for 225.
Without a doubt. So congratulations. That is the first race done and dusted in terms of the A and B finals. The women's 200 free. No surprises this time round as we move over to the men. First up, we are going to have the B final. The likes of Dometer, Beat, Mahan, Wolfhard, Engelbrecht, Steyn, Saliboko, and Rolfi taking to the water. The first time the men will be in action tonight with regards to the finals. How did the heats go today? Did you enjoy?
I think we've got a lot of depth in this 200-meter freestyle. Again, I wish I had my heat sheet with me. I think we had about 9 heats. I remember thinking there's a good amount of depth in it. And I like the fact, again, we have a 16-year-old and 3 17-year-olds in this B final. I think it's really important to see the young kids coming through.
Yeah, it's amazing. You look at the difference in ages. The youngest being a 16-year-old Will Beater, the oldest being 23-year-old Colin Saliboko. That's a difference of 7 years between the 2 swimmers, yet they're obviously going to be pushing each other hard as we watch the first of 4 laps about to be completed in this B final of the men's 200 free.
And another good thing I notice is that you've got quite a good range of swimmers coming from different parts of the country. They're not just all coming from Tshwane, which we're so used to saying. And I think it's really good to see that we've got different swimmers of different age groups coming from different parts of the country.
Yeah, it certainly is good. The variety, and it just goes to show how big swimming is around South Africa. Like Michelle said, it's not just about focus on certain areas. And again, nothing really to choose between the swimmers, but out in lane 2, going on rather nicely, is the youngster from the Eastern Cape, Will Beat, looking very strong, as well as Stefan Steyn over in lane 6. Some very good performances so far after the first 2 of 4 laps as they make the way to complete the penultimate lap of this B final in the men's 200 free.
Yes, it's always exciting when you get a young swimmer going out and he's swimming with his heart. It's probably his first B final. It could even be his first senior nationals. And, they'll be swimming at junior nationals at the end of April, which actually clashes with the junior African championships. So some of these swimmers could actually be either going to junior nationals and then African champs. So it's a really good way for them to get into this class of racing.
As we watch Stefan Steyn, he made the turn first, making his way to the final lap. But then we watch out Will Beat looking very, very strong over in lane 2. Once again, this is going to be tight. But lane 6, it is Stefan looking very good. Stefan Steyn grabbing the wall first in a time of 1:52.86. Very well done to Stefan Steyn from the Western Cape, grabbing the victory in this men's B final in the 200 free.
And then it was actually a race to second, 1:53.17 by Will Beat, and just out touching lane 3 with 1:53.60.
Yeah, so congratulations, Will Beat. I mean, we spoke about the youngster from the Eastern Cape. You could hear the crowd going crazy once again. And Tumela Malan going through and grabbing 3rd position in a time of 1:53.60. But that does wrap up when it comes to the men's B final in the 200 free, as we eagerly await the A final contestants who make their way out to poolside. And congratulations once again to Stefan Steyn from the Western Cape, 19 years of age, grabbing the victory in a time of 1:52.86. It's certainly heating up in what has been a chilly Quebec. I was very surprised to land this afternoon and be greeted by plenty of more rain. Having made the trip over from Johannesburg, it's been nothing but rain over the last couple of weeks. I thought I was going to get some sunshine. It wasn't to be.
Well, you were very unlucky because yesterday was actually a lovely sunny 25. I went for a nice run along the beachfront, along the Marine Parade there, and it was very delightful. So unfortunately, the rain started overnight, and it hasn't been the best.
Yeah, it's funny. You actually escaped to a pool indoors here at the Baker to get a bit of heat because it is absolutely freezing outside. So hopefully that disappears in a couple of days' time, but it doesn't matter. As mentioned, it certainly is heating up here at Newton Park Swimming Pool for the first day of 5 of the SA National Swimming Championships 2025. We're great, very happy to be at the home of the SA National Swimming Champs.
And, you know, even though I know a lot of people love the 100 free, I personally think the 200 free is one of the hardest of the men's races. Because to get a 200 free right is not easy. And I just think this young gun, Chris Myloff, coming with Matthew Caldwell, who's, I think, just younger than, actually, I'm stood to be corrected. You got Myloff at 17, Caldwell, and then, of course, you've got the experience of Sates, but he's only 21, making his bit of a comeback here. So it's going to be a fun race. This is really going to be epic.
Yeah, let's get this underway. The 200 free. Guy Brooks in lane 1, moving down. Kasali, Kriya, Meerlov, Sates, Caldwell, Muller, and Low. It's going to be fast. It's going to be furious. And looking at that men's A qualifying time, if they've got that eye on Singapore, 1:46.70. So that is the time they'll be looking at when it comes to this race. We had a very good one in terms of the B final, but this is going to be a lot quicker. Hold on to your seats as we watch straight out of the blocks in lane 4. Meerlov, you heard Michelle speaking about him a little earlier, and no surprises, the first man and the only man to dip under 25 at the turn.
Yes, he's a bit of a sprinter, Chris Myloff, and really taking Sates out there. Sates won't let him go too far ahead, but he definitely will be going to put all his energy to try and get his hand on the wall first at the end of this 200. So going in there first, Derek. Yeah,
halfway through and opening up a fairly healthy lead. But as we say that over in lane 5, surprise, surprise, who else but Matt Sates making his presence felt, representing KZN. Chris, the only man to go under 52 at the touch, but Sates is gaining on him. This is going to be tight.
But again, you know, you see the depth of the middle of the pool, the 3 swimmers coming in there, which again makes us look really good if we want to pick a relay. I think relays make better individual swimmers, just me. And you can see this is going head for head. Here comes Sates.
Sates is out in front, just ahead of Meerlov, a man who has represented South African international
Chris,
stage.
but I love Matt Sates.
Oh, well, here we go. Chris Meerlov and Matt Sates, but Matt Sates looks pulled away somewhat significantly. Sates is flying fast. He is ahead. It looks like the victory will be secured. This is a great swim from Matthew Sates. Remember, 1:46.70 is the time to get in terms of underneath, and unfortunately just gets out of that, but he does grab the victory. Matt Sates, 1:47.49, the only man to go underneath 1:48. Chris Meerlov in second position, and we'll wait for confirmation about the third spot. But Matt Sates, what a victory. I mean, it just goes to show the man, the reputation, hardly surprising.
Well, you know, the nice thing is he's back in form. He's looking much better after 2 years of not being as confident as he normally is. He's a confident swimmer in the back end. It's so much nicer seeing him race the way that we know he can. If we go back to those 20, 20 and 21 swims where he took those junior world records, he was a young gun going into 2:21. He swam really well at the NCAAs. He made his mark in the US. And I think this is the best I've seen him in about 2 years.
Yeah, well, that was a very impressive swim. We spoke about Chris Meerlov. He was a man to watch. But Matt Sates just proved his worth once again. And who can ever forget when he finished with a dead heat for first position over in the fly last year alongside Chad Le Clos. Chad Le Clos not here this year, but Matthew Sates makes his way out of the pool. A big thank you all round. As he says thanks to the folks around him. But congratulations to
And you know what I've just noticed there?
Yeah, tell us.
Guy Brooks just out-pipped Matthew Caldwell, 151.22, 151.23 for that first spot.
Yeah.
So it just shows you how incredible, just there's nothing in it. It's like, I know a few swimmers who have just missed a medal by 0.01, and it really is a case of putting your head down and just getting your hand on the wall. And we often say, and I've heard coaches say, you swim to that wall. Just don't think you're out of the race until the race is finished.
No, that was a superb swim from all round. Unfortunately, as mentioned, Matt Sates missing out on that A qualifying time, but well below the B qualifying time. That B qualifying time was 1:50.43. But yeah, that was a fantastic swim from Matt Sates, grabbing the victory. Just looking back, confirmation of the results from those women's 200 freestyle. Danae Kutsia getting the victory in the A final, and as confirmed, Jamie Mott with the win in the B final, which was a big, just underlined the reputation once again, the growing reputation when it comes to the Eastern Cape. Jamie Mott doing exceptionally well, and just 16 years of age, which is just sensational. As we move over to the women's 15-meter breaststroke, this is S1 to S18 multi-discipline, and we saw Kat Swanepoel make her way out of the water, and what a name, and what a she just continues to go from strength to strength as Kat Swanepoel. It's actually sensational to watch her perform, Michelle.
It is, and what's interesting about this is, of course, they all have their different classifications. So we actually need to watch out. Who touches the wall first doesn't mean they're the winner.
Yeah, it's completely irrelevant. It's races within races, theoretically, because
correct.
They're competing against the clock, not necessarily their fellow competitors.
Exactly, and they're looking at their world record, and it's how close they're going to be against their world record inside their classification. And actually, the South African coach for disability was telling me that a lot of them are getting reclassified in the French World Cup. So there's actually only, I think, Saudi that's been classified already, and most of the girls have to get reclassified. So they may go a time here, but I think because of the reclassification, they have to wait until that French World Cup.
Oh, so here we go. It's just 50 meters. This is going to be fairly quick. It is the 50-meter breaststroke, S1, S18, multi-class. Kat Swanepoel over in lane 2. We've got Kate Alwood, Alani Ferreira in 4. Minky Janse van Rensburg, who continues to break record after record in lane 5. Danica Venka and Ivana Venka, and they'll be competing in SB13. And as we watch, remember, it is races within races. It's not necessarily about who outtouches who. It is just about beating the clock as they head over to the wall, and it will be in lane 6. A great swim there from Danica Venka. And she went into this with a 38.24, and that is well below that 37.84. A terrific swim from Danica, as well as Alani Ferreira swimming out of KZN. As we see Kat Swanepoel make her way to the wall now. A swimmer who just continues to defy expectations, and she is just simply sensational.
It is. It's amazing to see people like Kat Swanepoel, Alani Ferreira. They come back year after year, and they really lead probably the Paralympian girls in the water. They show their depth, and they're such a close-knit bunch. I know Alani's said she feels as though they're like a family. They're very supportive of each other, so it's really great to see them swimming faster and faster every year.
Yeah, and there we have confirmation of those results. So we'll have confirmation a little later as regards to with those qualifying times, but here we have just a quick look once again. It was the 50 women's breaststroke, S1 to S18 multi-class, and we keep on reiterating the fact that it's not about a race against the fellow competitors. It's a race against the clock, given the fact that they are competing in various disciplines with each lane. So superb performances all round as the crowd continues to make their way here to Gqeberha, to Newton Park Swimming Pool for the opening night of the SA Swimming Championships, the Nationals for 2025. And that was the women's 50 breaststroke, S1 to S18. And before we now head over to the men's side of things, only 4 competitors will be taking to the pool. Tianta Blanche in lane 3, Leon Kutsa in lane 4, Amfele Tamarana in lane 5, and Eli Lawrence from the Free State, the 22-year-old, will be competing in lane 6.
And Leon Kutsa's actually just finished. He came straight from Bloemfontein at the SA schools. He broke 2 South African school records there, so he's on a bit of a roll, swimming here at his first senior championships.
Yeah, that's certainly incredible. So, yeah, welcome to the big time. Great to see you here. Leon Kutzer swimming out of lane 4. Remember, this is just 50 meters, so one lane and one lane only of the S1 to S15 multi-class men's 50 breaststroke. And I spoke a little earlier. I think we're expecting about 18 races to take to the pool tonight, but it goes by so quickly. I mean, just speaking as we sit right now, already in our 6th event of the evening, so almost a third of the way through as we watch this 50 take to the water. 50 breaststroke men's S1 to S15. Tianta Blanche in lane 3. Leon Kutzer in lane 4, swimming out of KZN. And then from Joburg, Mtele Kamarane. And from the Free State, we have Eli Lawrence.
Do you have any idea what my time was? So
And a superb swim once again. We've grown used to seeing this man do very well. Mkele Kamarana, and he touches in a time of 34.71 in the men's 50 breaststroke, this multi-class final. And he was closely followed by the likes of Tianta Blanche and Leon Kutzer, and Eli Lawrence also grabbing the wall. And the multi-class performers certainly performing once again in this, the 6th race of the evening when it comes to the finals here in Quebec.
I am really looking forward to seeing what their, what it actually, their points end up being, because as you say, even though that's the times we see, we're not quite sure until it gets classified correctly and we can see what their, I think they do it according to FINA points, and as I say, it's closest to their classification world record. So we'll be able to see who actually came first, second, third, or if they do it just within their classification.
Here we have a look back at these 4 performers. The 6th race of the evening, Tianta Blanche, Leon Kutzer, Mtele Kamarana, and Eli Lawrence in action in this, the men's 50 breaststroke S1 to S15 multi-class. As we look forward to the next event of the evening, the 7th of the night. We'll kick things off once again with the women. It is the women's 100-meter breaststroke A and B final. First up, we'll have the likes of Sarah McLaren, Gabrielle van den Berg, Michaela Hulst, Kate Mayer, Cassandra Sikiotis, Isabella McColgan, Dina Robinson, and Jenna Lane Fuller. Just having a look once again, like you mentioned earlier, Michelle, in terms of the spread from where they are about, you've got swimmers from KZN, Tshwane, Johannesburg, KZN once again. So a nice spread. No Eastern Capers in action this time around. Do we have any coming up in the final? The A final, we certainly do. But yeah, a nice spread once again. Not all from Six or Tshwane.
And we have 2 actually from KZN, so I'm very happy about that. And they actually both from Seal Swimming Club.
And here they are making their way out poolside. Women's 100-meter breaststroke B final here at Newton Park Swimming Pool. The opening night of a 5-day action-packed week in the SA National Swimming Championships 2025. And it's the best of the best when it comes to South African swimmers having descended on the Eastern Cape here in Quebec.
It's quite interesting. You have a 16-year-old, 2 17-year-olds, 18-year-old, 19-year-old. So it's quite it always amazes me how you get certain age groups and they all come up together. So 17, 18, 19. So you can imagine they probably all swam at schools together. They all swam at junior nationals together, and here they found themselves in a B final.
Yeah, it is very exciting having probably got to know each other from about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, if not more so. And here they are on the biggest stage of all when it comes to South African swimming. And they're about to get their swim underway. It is the women's 100 breaststroke B final. Once again, those lanes: McLaren, Van den Berg, Hulst, Meyer, Sikiotis, McColgan, Robinson, and Fuller. And away they go.
And it would be nice to see if any of them can get closer to that 110 mark. I know some of them have been 110, 111. So, we'll see. I expect Michaela Gulst to be pushing there. She has made A finals in the past. She actually went to Mare Nostrum and ended up being, they did a skins event, and she ended up being in the top 3 there, which was amazing to see. It was her and Laura Faneka flying the South African flags for us. So as we said, we've got Michaela Gulst and I think Cassandra.
So, yeah, Cassandra Sikiotti swimming out of lane 5. So, again, nothing much to choose between these swimmers. And, of course, this is an event that has delivered plenty of goals for South Africa in the past. So it's certainly one to watch out for. Unfortunately, no Tatiana Smith anymore in action. As we see lane 3 cruising through Michaela Gulst. You mentioned her a little earlier, and once again living up to her reputation. What a performance from Michaela, swimming out of KZN, doing so in a time of 1:11:47.
And she'll be much happier with that. As I say, she went 1:10 at the end of her season, long course season last year, so I think getting closer to that, she'll be much happier with a 1:11 compared to 1:13 this morning.
Very good effort there from Michaela Gulst, finishing ahead of Isabella McColgan, while in third, Cassandra Sikiotis capturing the bronze, theoretically, when it comes to this B final. Very well done
And
to
again,
the swimmers.
you can see a very close finish. 1:12.70, 1:12.71, 1:12.73.
And that was absolutely nothing. Kate Mayer certainly can feel hard done by finishing in 4th position, and just 300ths slower when it came to those times. Incredible performance from those swimmers in what was the B final of the women's 100 breaststroke, as we await to see who will be the next
South African champion.
when it comes to the 100 breaststroke. As mentioned in the past, we've seen plenty of swimmers do very, very well on the international stage. You look at the likes of Penny Haynes and Tatiana Schoenmaker/Smith. I mean, she needed no introduction, but having said her farewell to the swimming arena last year.
And you talk about Penny Haynes. What some people may not know is that my dad was actually head coach on Penny Haynes' team in 1994 Commonwealth Games. And I was lucky enough to go to Victoria, and my dad actually got, well, no, I should say Sam Ramsamy organised me a accreditation. And I got to watch the great Penny Haynes, and I got to watch her again in 2000 Olympics. And I think again, maybe 1999 in Australia when she broke that world record. And she was one of the most extraordinary swimmers. And I remember she used to come back from Nebraska during the year and swim at Sasselberg. And she definitely set the standard for breaststrokers. And I would say all swimmers, well, especially female swimmers, that you really, you know, if you want it enough, you can work hard and get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how well South Africans have done when it comes to this event. But with Tatiana, of course, saying farewell to the sport, it really has opened the door for someone to come through and make their presence felt when it comes to this event. Having a look at the starters, moving down from lanes 1 to 8, Georgia Owls, Morgan Cope, Kayleen Corbett, who can forget her, Simone Mole, Rebecca Meader, Miela Banza, Chanel Feltzman, and Kira Van Heerden.
And a little bit of inside knowledge, Simone has been swimming in America, but of course she also, when she comes back to South Africa, swims under Laura Faneka's coach, Eugene. So I expect Simone to be swimming really well here.
Well, here we go, and that's a great start from those swimmers. And looking out over in lane 5, I think it is, going along rather nicely. Rebecca Meader, surprise, surprise, another great performance from her. And as we say that, starting to be caught from the outside, overlooking Kayleen Corbett, also going along very, very nicely. But Rebecca Meader, the only one to go under 32 at the turn as they make their way back for the final length of the pool.
And it was amazing when Rebecca swam really well at short course. She told me she was originally a breaststroker. So breaststroke, even though she loves IM and freestyle, breaststroke has become her thing. And she swam really well at the World Cups and then again at Budapest at the World Championships. And here it's a race between Rebecca and Kayleen.
This is fantastic.
And here comes Simone.
Rebecca Meader looking very strong. Rebecca fighting hard. It's going to be tight as we wait to see. And it looks as if Rebecca Meader grabbing the victory. There's nothing to choose between them. But Meader finishing ahead of Mole, and Corbett grabbing 3rd position. And Meader from KZN 1:07.50. Unfortunately out of that A qualifying time, but well within that B qualifying time, as were the ladies alongside her, and Simone Mole and Kayleen Corbett. So 3 great swims there.
amazing to see that kind of depth once again in our breaststroke. You know, we obviously, as you say, had Smith, and then I think there was her name, of course, Lara, who's not here, unfortunately. And then there was Emily Visaki. And so it's great to see that, you know, the breaststroke continues in this country and there's that amount of depth.
Yeah, it's certainly a discipline where South Africa has shone on the brightest of stages, and it is superb to see once again. But what a swim from Rebecca Meader out of KZN, 107.50, just ahead of Simone Mole. She was swimming in lane 4, and in lane 3 it was Kayleen Corbett grabbing bronze. And look, there was the tightest of finishes, but Rebecca Meader in the end emerging victorious.
And it was a really good finish there by Rebecca. You actually saw she was able to get her hands on the wall. She didn't need to do an extra kick. She didn't glide into the finish. So I think she timed it right. It actually makes her the short course and the long course champion now, because she won at short course. So she really is showing that she has a lot to give in breaststroke, and of course being something that she's really looking at, I think she'll only grow from here.
Certainly so. As we say goodbye to the women when it comes to this event, and we welcome the men onto pool deck. It is the men's 100 breaststroke. First up, the B final. And we've got Nathaniel Frey, Willem Roos, Kian Keelock, Sean Thomas, Anand van Rensburg, Franco Clayton, Zane Niemand, and Jose Conjulo. And looking at these ages once again, a nice spread. The youngest competitor, Zane Niemand, swimming out of lane 7. The oldest, Anand van Rensburg. So that's an age difference of, once again, 7 years. So really, it's very, very tight. But also just looking at where they're from, the ages might be spread, but not so much from where they're from, Michelle.
Exactly. We've only got one from the Western Cape and all the rest come from Swanee. So, yeah, I'm guessing most of them even probably swim with tucks.
There we have confirmation of those swimmers in this men's 100 breaststroke B final. Frame, Roos, Keelock, Thomas, van Rensburg, Clayton Niemand, and Conjulo.
And you can see in the middle of the pool, those 3 boys have qualified with 103. So I expect that's where we'll see the speed coming from, and someone within those 3 to be turning first at that 50 meters.
And away they go. The first lap of 2 in this men's 100 breaststroke B final. Very tight up front amongst the competitors. But looking good so far in lane 5. It is Anand van Rensburg, one of the many swimmers, one of the 7 in fact, swimming out of Tshwane.
And Anand, you can see, is a very long swimmer. He swims very, as I say, he doesn't do very good. You know, he's very long in his breaststroke, which means he's not rating very quickly. He's really holding his stroke together. But you can see there's nothing in it. You've got a blanket of swimmers. Lane 3 coming through there.
Yeah, Nant slowly holding.
Yeah.
Only just though, but he certainly is going to be tested, and you can see, as I say, that the rest certainly making their presence felt. This is going to be exceptionally tight. And watch over in lane 4, Sean Thomas looking very strong now.
Exactly, he's coming there at the back end, and I think he's going to get the touch.
He certainly does. Sean Thomas, a fantastic win for him. Coming through from the back, putting on the afterburners, grabbing the victory in a time of 1:03.37. Anand van Rensburg did manage to grab second place. Franco Clayton finishing third, representing the Western Cape. It was nice to see the lone non-Tshwane swimmer getting amongst the medalists. Franco Clayton grabbing third place, Anand van Rensburg second, but Sean Thomas, what a swim from him, doing so in a time of 1:03.37 and grabbing the victory in this men's 100 B final.
And sometimes it is just about, you know, building that confidence, getting your hand on the wall first, because I'm sure they would have liked to have gone under that 103. Today wasn't that day, but getting your hand on the wall first. Some of them, it could have been, again, as I say, their first B final, and you grow, your confidence grows from that, because of course they'll be going, what do I need to do next year to get into that A final?
Yep, that's it. So that certainly is the mark, being said, and some very good swims there. Particularly from Sean Thomas. So congratulations to those competitors as we await to see our A final swimmers make their way poolside. This is going to certainly be an exciting race as we go through those names. Petrus Trutter, Ruben Smith, Matthew Randall, Chris Smith, Michael Hooley, Peter Etzold, Matt Sates. Once again, we just saw him emerge victorious when it came to the 200 free. And the last of those competitors will be Oliver Langer. Yeah, this is going to be a tight one. Nice to see Michael Hooley in action. It's so surprising to see Michelle, 24 years of age, a veteran somewhat.
I know, we were actually discussing this yesterday, Mark and I, and he was like, I'm not even old, but I'm one of the oldest. And I said, I know, exactly. Because, you know, you've got swimmers that are swimming like in Australia, the 50-meter freestyler that's 30-something. He, you know, won at the Olympics. And then you've got him at 24. But the fun thing is here, both of them made the final in that 50-meter breaststroke at Budapest. They swimming exceptional, they're pushing each other, and I think it's, again, you know, we talked about the women's breaststroke. We had Cameron van der Berg. Hooley has been swimming since 2018. He went to Junior Worlds in 2017, and then of course you've got Chris Smith. So it's always exciting to see that a stroke continues inside our swimming history.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the first person to put us on the map when it came to it, of course, was the one and only Terence Parkin.
Of course. Wayne would have killed me and I was trying to think of, and that was obviously 2000 Olympics where he came third at the Olympics in that 200 breaststroke.
So, Michael Hooley, he's hard to miss, is Michael Hooley, swimming out of the Western Cape. So, this is going to be a big one. And away they go. Trutter, Smith, Randall, Smith, Hooley, Etzel, Sates, and Langer. And no surprises, Hooley certainly getting off to a good start as there's the man alongside him, Chris Smith.
I expect Hooley to go through first. He likes to take out that first 50. This morning he went under 27. I thought it was a little bit quick maybe because sometimes you take it out too hard. You can't finish the last 15. So we'll see what they go through in.
Very good start there from Michael Hooley. First lap, 27.79, well under that 28. The only man to do so. Can he maintain that advantage in this, the second and final lap here in the men's 100 breaststroke A final?
Well, what's interesting, this was about the point where Chris Smith did come over the top this morning, but we can see Hooley's holding on. He's one of my favorite swimmers. He always has been. Oh, here Chris Smith comes. Can Hooley keep it?
Smith fighting hard. This is going to be very tight between the two of them. It looks like Smith has the edge. Does he? He does. Just outtouches Michael Hooley, the best swimmer of the night so far, without a doubt. Chris Smith grabbing the win, 1:01.57.
And he just gets under that B qualifying time.
Chris Smith with the victory, getting underneath that B qualifying time. And out-touching Michael Hooley at the wall. A very good swim from him. Hooley grabbing second place, and Matthew Randall with the third spot. There we have confirmation of those times once again. But Chris Smith, the man with the victory, and swimming out of, surprise, surprise, Tshwane. As you mentioned, just getting underneath that time, Michelle, that it was 1:01.84 was that B qualifying time. So Smith and Hooley doing so. And as I say, that Matthew Randall doing so as well. So three men getting under the B qualifying
and Matthew
time.
Randall is a 200 swimmer, so I think he'll be quite happy with that 100 swim. I think it'll set him really up nicely for his 200 later in the week. He'll be definitely looking to hopefully win that, I would expect.
Jeez, it's hard to believe we've absolutely flown through these swims so far. We spoke about there being probably around 18 swims tonight, but now looking on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 8 to go. So
it goes very quickly when you're enjoying what you're watching.
Yeah, without a doubt. So it's very impressive performances so far. Fortunately, no swimmers managing to get underneath their qualifying times with regard to Singapore yet in terms of the A qualifying time. But we have had a few doing so when it comes to the B qualifying time, as we just witnessed 3 swimmers do so in the men's 100 breaststroke A final. As we await the rest of the swimmers to make their way out, we'll be moving over to the women's 100-meter backstroke S1 to S18 multi-class once again. I think probably before we do, it won't be long before we see some medal presentations being conducted here poolside in Rebecca. But yeah, what a great start to proceedings. Michelle, day 1 of 5 of the 2025 SA Swimming Champs.
It is, and you know, as you said, even though you've got a 24-year-old that's really young, so I think what we're watching here is that next lot of swimmers coming through getting ready for LA.
Yeah.
So even though they, getting B times and they're just out of those A times, I think it's really setting up. So if we keep on following the pathways and we keep on working together inside South Africa swimming, I believe, we will get to those A times that are required for the Olympics. Commonwealth Games obviously is always a little bit easier. It's always a fun time because you're able to send 3 swimmers often. So we could see 3 of our breaststrokers going instead of 2 to Commonwealth Games. 3 of them can make finals. That's why often you'll see, 3 Australians, 2 British, 3 South Africans. And we stack between certain countries because that you're able to send 3 swimmers. But what's so good about that is it really is a big thing. I love Commonwealth Games. I've been lucky enough to go to 3, and a lot of the non-Commonwealth countries don't understand the excitement, but I always feel as though you can build so much confidence from that. And I think the young swimmers here, even if they just miss out on Singapore, they should really be thinking about Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, man, it really is exciting. I mean, there's so many things when it comes to trying to qualify for various events. Plenty of eyes over in Singapore, but of course we do speak about the likes of the Commonwealth Games. Unfortunately, no Olympics in the offing. We've got a few years to wait for that to before we set our sights when it comes to the Olympics. But it is all eyes on Quebec this week as far as SA swimmers are concerned, or the SA swimming fraternity.
Yes, I think, as I say, I think the depth. I've loved the fact that the races have been so close. There hasn't been a lot between it, which shows that people are understanding what they need to do. And as we pointed out, a lot of the B finals had swimmers coming from quite a few provinces instead of just one province or 2 provinces. So I think that's a good positive for where swimming is heading in the next 6 to 8 years.
Oh, man, what a sport, and what a country when it comes to performing at the sport, as we await the medal presentations.
Well, you do. You talk about what a sport, and I often actually say, because you know golf so well, and a swimmer never gets out of the pool and says, "I'm so happy with that swim." And it always reminds you of a golfer, because whenever you ever seen a golfer, or very seldom, do they finish and they go, "Oh, what a round," or "What a shot."
You think about the shots you missed out on.
Exactly. You always, and that's exactly what happens. Even when they get a PB, they go, "Oh, I should have done this better. I should have done that." And so a swimmer is like a golfer. Even though they're getting that time, they always thinking about, "I should have done the turn better. I should have finished the stroke better. Or my stroke count was a little bit out." So swimming is a very, very difficult sport. And that's why you can't even get away with not practicing every day. I think Michael Phelps did not miss a session for 6 years, and I'm talking about every day. He didn't have a Sunday off. So, often here, I'm not aware of any swimmers that swim on a Sunday. There may be, but most people I know have Sunday off. But when you look at the Marchands and the Michael Phelps and the Ledeckis.
If you want to be the most decorated Olympian in history.
Correct.
There's no such thing as
that's
any
what
day
they're
off.
sacrificing. And swimming is a difficult sport. You can't do the 60% training sessions. You can't say, "Oh, I can miss a session." When you are sick for 3 days, swimmers are sweating. They're actually worried. They're like, "Oh, I've just missed 3 sessions." But you can get away with that in a few other sports.
Wow. Oh, man, if you have just joined us, it is the opening day of the SA National Swimming Championships 2025 taking place in Quebec. We are here at Newton Park Swimming Pool, which has pretty much been the home of this event over the last couple of years. It's great to be back down in the Eastern Cape. It is chilly outside, but it is heating up here indoors. And we had the heats this morning, but now underway. We are midway through the first night of the finals. A little earlier, we had some terrific victories from the likes of Rebecca Meader, also Stefan Steyn doing well. Matt Sates, who can forget his performance when it came to the 200 free. Just saw Michael Hooley doing very, very well. And they've really come out to perform in Rebecca, have these swimmers. Yeah, I suppose the sad thing, and I mentioned it up front, likes of Tatjana Smith having retired. I know that Chandler Close taking a bit of a rest. So the bigger names, not necessarily here, but once again it opens the door for others to make their name.
And I must admit, you know, as I say, I've been quite lucky. I've been involved in the sport since post-apartheid and, you know, 92 when we were allowed to be back in that swimming
Since
worldwide.
readmission, yeah.
Exactly, readmission. And, you know, swimming has always been a focus of the country. And one thing I wish, and same as you saying up front, is that I saw more of those ex-swimmers at events like this. I just think we need to be inspired, and we've got swimmers that we can be inspired by. And I do wish Chad was here. I do wish he was giving out medals. I do wish Penny was here. Rake's in the country. A few of our other swimmers are overseas. I know Cameron Vanderberg lives in, you know, the UK, and other swimmers like Roland is in America. And we were lucky enough to have him here the last 2 years. And just their presence would mean so much to the swimmers. So I know it sounds, you know, I know they've moved on with their lives, but I do think that that could also help the world of swimming if the likes of those swimmers we've always looked up to were at events like this.
Yeah, without a doubt. But no doubt, I'm sure they are watching very, very close. I know Rake is a massive follower when it comes to results, etc.
100%.
of these swims. He keeps a close eye on proceedings and always messaging me non-stop and when it comes to these results. And I know he's a massive watcher when it comes to the chance.
And, you know, I was really lucky. I watched a lot of Rake Neckling swimming. I watched him in 2000. I watched him at his first Commonwealth Games in 94, and he went from a 1500 swimmer to a 100-meter swimmer. And he is definitely someone who I think can have so much influence on young swimmers, and he does. He loves watching for swimming, and I know from the young kids when they break his old records. You know, we used to go to junior nationals, and he used to train with a swimmer called Tanya Oosthuizen, and we would look at the records, and all you would see was Tanya Oosthuizen and Rake Neckling.
Just having a look here, it is a 200 free, the medal ceremony, and in third position, Rebecca Meader. We'll see her grabbing the gold a little later, but this was in the women's 200 free, and also nicely done from Amy Canny, capturing, Rebecca grabbing silver, Amy Canny grabbing bronze, but in top spot, top of the podium, Danae Kutsia, what a performance.
Oh, she is so special. I had a lot to do with her last year at Mare Nostrum, and I'm so happy to see her back winning a national title, especially in the 200.
Yeah, so that was the women's 200 free, the medal ceremony. And we'll wait for the men to get to the podium. And remember, this was an extremely tight race amongst those front runners, but in the end, Chris Malov being outgunned by Matt Sates, proving his pedigree once again. But we'll see them take to the podium shortly. And here they come. So it's the men's A final when it came to the 200 free.
Yes, what a performance by Matt Sates. I love it when he comes home like that. I watched him win in Melbourne 222 when Chad also took his win. The boys won on the same night. Well, no, actually Matt won first and then Chad was the next night. But it was the most special thing. You know, when Matt executes one of his best races, it's poetry. I actually feel as though it's art in water.
Well, there we see him collecting his gold medal. Bronze going the way of Rekord Muller, and it was Chris Malov grabbing silver. But the winner in the men's 200 freestyle final, Matt Sates.
And it's great to see, you know, youngsters coming up there like Chris Malov gets better and better every year.
Superbly done by those swimmers when it came to the 200 freestyle finals for men's and ladies. That is the first bit of the medal ceremony done and dusted as we return to the action in the water.
Bit of backstroke coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. We've got multi-discipline coming up again, women's and men's, S1 to 18 in the women and S1 to S15 in the men. We'll be seeing them poolside shortly on what is the opening night of a week of the SA Swimming Nationals 2025. And there we have Kat Swanepoel once again in picture. You saw swimming a little earlier. She first took the water in the women's 50-meter breaststroke, S1 to S18. And now she'll be in action again. I mean, she hardly rests as Kat Swanepoel. She feels like she's in the pool more than she's out of it when it comes to these events.
It's amazing the depth she has across the strokes. It's really extraordinary.
Good to see the fans certainly filling up here at Newton Park Swimming Pool. And a big thank you to the various sponsors for making this event happen once again. We've got Swimming South Africa, of course, Arena, Sports, Arts and Culture, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, Aquile, and of course the Lotto, National Lottery Board. Really a big thank you to them once again for what promises to be a fantastic week of swimming, as it always is over here in Gqeberha. As the city pulls out all the stops, as we see the competitors make their way towards the starting blocks. Kat Swanepoel, she'll be swimming in lane 3. Kate Elwood in lane 4, 16 years of age. Danica Venka in lane 5, and Nasira du Toit in lane 6. Kat Swanepoel, hard to believe we spoke about Michael Hooley swimming at the age of 24. Kat Swanepoel in her 30s, but continues to astound, breaking records, grabbing medals, doing it time and time again.
Going to the Paralympics a number of times.
And Theo Verster, national coach when it comes to the SA Paralympic squad, he's been a co-commentator with me plenty of occasions here at the Nationals. Of course, duty calls first, though.
Another swimmer, I think, that was on a team that my dad coached.
Yeah, he was a relay kingpin.
Very well, a lot of depth.
He's loved the butterfly. As the race gets underway, this is the multi-discipline S1 to S18 women's 100 backstroke. Kate Swanepoel swimming over in lane 3 out of Gauteng. Kate Elwood from the Western Cape, 16 years of age. And next to her we've got Danica Venka, 17 years old, swimming out of Tshwane. And from the Western Cape, Nasira du Toit, also 16 years of age. And looking at their different disciplines, to wire win from her. And swimming out of lane 3, don't see that too often. There we have confirmation of the winner of that B final in the women's 100 backstroke. Grace Morris emerging victorious.
And nice to see even a swimmer in lane 7 coming in for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, it certainly was. And that was another good performance.
Catherine Williams.
Yeah, so very nicely done from very nicely done from Catherine Williams. And representing karting. And as they leave the pool, as we get ready for the A final of the women's 100 backstroke.
So we see Mila Dracopoulos there coming in. She's won the last 2 years, I believe, at the national championships. She's going to be looking, I'm sure, right next to her in lane 4 at Jessica Thompson. They both went to Junior Worlds together and swam in Budapest together.
Well, we'll see them make their way out to poolside. This is going to be a big one. Looking through these names, as you heard Michelle speak about them. Now we're going to talk your way through lanes 1 through to 8. Taylor Jonker, Hannah Pierce, Michaela de Villiers, Jessica Thompson, Mia Dracopoulos, Karen Hapst, Miller van der Linde, and Bailey Lambert.
And we see Bailey Lambert making her first A final. She's only 15 years of age. It's really impressive. She swam at Junior Nationals at the first time at the age of 13. Didn't make any A or B. Came back last year, made a few B finals, and here she is in her first A final.
Yeah, it certainly is an incredible achievement. 15 years of age. And no surprises, especially the fact that Michelle knew immediately how she had merged through the ranks, hailing from KZN.
Yeah, she definitely puts in the effort. I know she comes to at least 96% of her training sessions. She's always asking her coach what she can do better, so it'll be really nice to see if she can go into that 103 territory. But here we have the middle of the pool with Mila Dracopoulos and Jessica Thompson. Those are the 2 swimmers that I expect to be out. I expect Jessica to take it out quicker, being a sprinter. But it is going to be a hard call for them to get to that A qualifying time. The women need to go 1 minute .46 A qualifying and a 1:02.58. Jessica and Mila, I believe, have been under that 1:02.58, but they haven't dipped to that minute just yet.
So, and they are away in the women's A final of the 100 backstroke. So yeah, their time set in the heats today certainly probably puts them out of qualification for that A final. For that A qualifying time, rather, if you're looking at the world champs. But as you heard Michelle speak about, keep an eye on that B qualifying time as they make their way at the turn, and leading the way,
Taylor Jonker.
Taylor Jonker, superb performance in that first lap, swimming out of lane 1. Nicely going from Taylor Jonker.
I expect Mila Dracopoulos to come here at the end, but at the moment it's a wall of swimmers. I mean, you actually cannot say who's leading.
No, you certainly can't, but as we look at that, and Jessica Thompson going along very nicely, this is going to be very, very tight. Mila Dracopoulos also looking very good, but it looks like it's going the way of Jessica Thompson, and it does. A 1:01.68, finishing ahead of Dracopoulos and de Villiers either side of her. 1:01.68, that is very well done. And just having a look, that is underneath that women's B qualifying time when it comes to the world champs. And in fact, Miller also grabbing that. So that was very, very nicely done. And when I say that, we've also got Michaela de Villiers repeating the feat too.
It's quite amazing.
And Hannah Pierce.
2 swimmers go 1:01.68, just out touching Mila Dracopoulos by Jessica Thompson. And we can actually see that 15-year-old Bailey Lambert went 1:03.40.
That is absolutely incredible. Well done to Bailey Lambert, and just looking down those times, Karen Hapst also getting underneath that B qualifying time. That B qualifying time once again, 1:02.58, and Karen Hapst 1:02.52, so just squeaking in. So may not be some A qualifying times, but not bad for B.
A lot of B qualifying times, and of course Hannah Pierce is known as a 200 specialist, so I think she'll be really happy. The solid 100 right there in the mix. 1:02, she's just in front of us right here, so I expect her to be in that top 2 in the 200, and it's very solid. It's incredible. Again, you know, it was a wall of swimmers coming into that last 15, and then you saw that little sprint. So Jessica Thompson, you know, I thought she would go out first. She didn't. She saw Taylor Yonker be the first touch on the wall in that first 50, and maybe that was the difference. She was able to keep something for the end, so she's kind of changed her race tactic from last year, where she went out and then Mila came over the top of her, where she was the one now to come over the top of the other girls.
Yeah, it was really impressive from those swimmers. But yeah, congratulations once again to Jessica Thompson for getting the victory, swimming out of Ekeleni. And as we move over to the men's, it is the B final of the men's 100 backstroke. Making our way from lanes 1 through to 8, Elijah Dredge, Michael van Heerden, Christian Estes and Dylan Wright, Eric Kotze, Johan Boshoff, Dana van der Merwe and Christian van Eerden. Nice to have a swimmer representing Northwest, the 18-year-old Christian van Heerden. Haven't seen too many of those in action tonight.
And if you look across the times that to bring them into this B final, I think this is going to be very, very close. We just see a blanket of 58s and then the 159, so I don't think we're going to be able to separate them unless somebody is able to go a 57.
Oh, well, it's going to be exciting to watch. All the more reason to keep a very, very close eye on proceedings. So that's the B final of the men's 100 backstroke. Away they go. You heard Michelle speak about nothing to choose in terms of the times, in terms of the heats. I expect that to go very much the same way.
And again, we're in lane 5, we have a 15-year-old in Eric from Western Cape there, 58.41 he swam this morning. I'm sure someone of that age would love to see how close he can go to the 57.
Well, you speak about Eric Kotze, that's him right there, and he is leading the way at the moment at 27.73, making the turn just ahead of Dylan Wright. Christian Esterhazen holding on to third spot for now, and that could change dramatically over the course of the next 50 meters as they make the way towards the finish. And we spoke about the fact that there's nothing to choose with their times, or there's nothing to choose with their positions at the moment, and looking good. In fact, Christian Esterhazen over in lane 3 coming away with matters. He's been challenged hard in his outside, but Dylan Wright, but over in lane 3 grabbing the victory. Very well done to Christian Esterhazen, doing so in 57.46, and that was a superb performance from him. Dana van der Merwe grabbing second, and in third spot Dylan Wright from the Western Cape.
Really good to see somebody go 57. Always good that you're able to get a little bit ahead of the rest of the bunch, thinking, you know, again, next time I want to be in that A final.
Yeah, confirmation of those results. Christian Esterhazen grabbing first spot, Dana van der Merwe in second, and in third position Dylan Wright. But Christian Esterhazen, just confirmation of that time, it was 57.46 for him.
So here we go, the next one being Peter Kutsi, but let's not take away anything from the men's B final. Very exciting. It just shows you it's a game of strategy in 100, just like a 200. Who touches the wall first into the 50 doesn't necessarily win the 100. And you saw lane 3 and 4 versing each other, with lane 3 getting the touch.
Lovely performance from the swimmers. As we await the A finalists to make their way poolside. And remember, Peter Kutsia will be in action, the Olympian who holds the African record in this event.
I was just about to say, do you have his record up there?
52.58. He set at the Olympics in Paris.
So he was
Who can
only
forget?
0.5 away from that this morning. So, you know, he's such a strong swimmer. I was lucky enough to watch him through his 100 and 200s, through the three different World Cups, and he's absolutely extraordinary. He is so good at his start and turns now. He works on them. He's now one of the best at the world at his skills, and he is just so strong in all avenues of his 100 and 200.
Yeah, he's a supreme athlete, and just confirmation once again of the time that he set over in Paris. 52.58, doing so last year. And that is the SA and African record, a sensational performance from him over in France. As you heard Michel speak about his earlier time today, it was 53.03. Certainly was taking it a little easier, but there'll be eyes on whether he can beat his own time when it comes to records. But up against him, the likes of Vickers Potgieter, Ronan Theron, Adrian van Dijk, Peter Kutse, Ruud van Renen, Helgard Muller, Jonah Poole-Jones, and Ty Lee Pearson. It is the final race of the night before we head over to the relays.
And I do expect Ruud to give it a good go to see how close he can get to Peter. He obviously did go to that Budapest and he made the final there. So I do expect Ruud to see how close he can get to Peter.
And away we go for the men's 100 backstroke. A final. All eyes on Peter Kutse swimming out of lane 4. No surprises there. And when it comes to the qualifying times, I think we don't need to really worry with regards to that. When it comes to Peter, 53.94 is that qualifying time, but his own record being standing at 52.58. And shock, horror, shock, Peter Kutse will make the turn first, doing well so in a time of 25.72. I see Michelle nodding profusely.
I think that's very good, solid first 50 by Peter. I'm just watching Ruud and seeing if he can get close to that A qualifying. It would be good for South African swimming to have two men again in that 100-meter backstroke. I can see Peter's pulling away. What is he going to do, Derek?
He is pulling away. Remember the time, 52.58 in terms of his record, and he gets a 52.71. So that's just outside his own record time, but a sensational performance nonetheless. And in second position, Ruud van Renen. But Peter Kutse 52.71, sensational once again from the man, and well inside that A qualifying time when it comes to Singapore. Surprise, surprise. Not really surprising given the fact that he goes over and achieves so much over and over again. But 52.71 and just outside of his own record time.
It would be interesting to know what he actually swam in this pool this time last year. Something else I wish I had at my hand. The reason why I say that is he is the last individual race of the day in a cool temperature outside, as you say. It always makes it a bit harder for the swimmers to get going. So I think that's a very, very fast time for the conditions of Port Elizabeth today. Cal Becker, sorry.
No, please. Yeah, what a performance from Peter Kutse as we wrap up the last of the individual swims before we head over to the relays. You see,
and we can see him getting interviewed there. Fastest swim of the night by anybody going underneath that A qualifying time easily. He's definitely the swimmer in our team that's taking over from Tatiana. I think he's our best medal hope right now, at least at the World Championships this year. I believe that if he had gone to Budapest, he probably could have, well, I shouldn't say definitely won gold, but after watching his World Cup performances, I really felt that he would have been our best gold medalist hope at Budapest.
And just having a look back at his Olympic performances, of course he didn't manage to medal, but he certainly did well. And again, in doing well, he still grabbed African records. So he continued to improve. It's not like he went, it just the competition was just that much better.
Correct. And what we also have to remember is even though we've seen him a lot, he's only 20. Now, a lot of swimmers sometimes only peak at 26, 28 years old. So who knows when Peter Kutse will peak. But I think right now he's getting stronger all the time. He's getting faster. I'm sure I'll ask him what his time was in the pool this time last year. We'll find out what it is for the 200 so we can tell the people. And you know, as long as you're going quicker each year in the same pool, you're a happy swimmer.
So that was the last of our individual swims as we make our way over to two relays to wrap up proceedings tonight. Always exciting to finish off with the relays. And first up will be the women's 4x100 freestyle. And we've got West. Yeah.
And it's amazing to see the depth. You can see there's two B teams there from Surprise, Swanee and Western Cape. I'm glad to see the Western Cape. But that's always going to be interesting because can the B teams get on the podiums, which I accept Swanee's B team to be pretty quick.
Yeah, we're running through those lists when it comes to the women's 4x100 freestyle. Over in lane 1, we will have Western Cape. That will be the B side up against Tshwane B. And then we move over to the A's, the likes of KZN, Western Cape A side, Tshwane A. We've got Ekurhuleni A. And also Eastern Cape. No doubt there'll be plenty of fans watching like crazy, cheering the Eastern Cape is on.
You look at the swimmers from Western Cape and Tshwane, it's really exciting. You've got Amy Canny, Georgia Nell, Michaela de Villiers, and Coral. I'll let you say the surname. You're better than me.
Noblash.
Thank you.
Noblash will be in that's Coral Noblash for Western Cape. That is in the A side.
Exactly, and then you can see you've got the 4 swimmers there from Tshwane, again very exciting, and Caitlin DeLanga, Erin Gallagher, Hannah Mouton and Hannah Robertson. So I feel as though those are the 2 teams that are going to be versing each other.
So before we head over to the relays to wrap up proceedings, we will be going over to the medal ceremony now, and this will be for the multi-class competitors. What has been a great opening day of the SA Nationals Swimming Champs for 2025 here in Gqeberha. Newton Park Swimming Pool, the home of this event over the last couple of years. A big thank you once again to the various sponsors for making this all happen. National Lotto Board, Swimming SA, Sports, Arts and Culture. So Department of Sports, Art and Culture, Arena and Aquile. And for those folks that missed out on the backstroke multi-class a little earlier, don't worry, we will be showing it straight after this event. So you can catch it once the proceedings wrap up here for the evening. We will be replaying it, the action from the backstroke multi-class. So Lani Ferreira going up. This is in the women's breaststroke.
And that's why it's always interesting seeing who gets the medals in these events, because you're really not sure who's going to end up coming first, second, third until they've actually taken the times and compared them to those world records in each classification.
Minka van Rensburg swimming out of the Western Cape, going up to collect her silver. Gavanka going up to collect gold. Supreme performance once again. Danica Venka swimming out of Tshwane. A confirmation of our bronze, silver and gold medalists. Come to the multi-class action.
Just 4 swimmers, 3 of them will make the podium. It's always a bittersweet. Someone has to come forth.
Yeah, we'll see the men going up on the podium now. Remember, this was for the 50 breaststroke. That was S1 to S18. Leon Coetzee capturing bronze, swimming out of KZN, was 14 years of age. Tianta Blanche grabbing silver. Also, 14-year-old swimming out of the Western Cape. Lovely performance from him. Remember, this is the men's 50-meter breaststroke, S1 to S15 multi-class, as we await our gold medalist to step to the top of the podium. Ampele Camarana grabbing the victory, 21 years of age. Well
So
done
impressive.
to the man from karting.
I love para swimming. You know, that's why, you know, they do the Olympics and then they do the Paralympics. And I love Olympics, but I always think it's just extraordinary watching the Paralympics. It's something special. It's like, I don't know how many pro tennis tournaments you've been to, but I've been quite lucky. I've been to Wimbledon and the Australian Open, and I've watched a lot of the disability tennis, and it's just extraordinary, especially the wheelchair tennis, and it's the same as the swimming. I'm like, you know what? It's just amazing what they are able to achieve.
So congratulations to the 50 breaststroke competitors when it comes to multi-class. And we still got one more set of medals to hand out. As we move over, we'll be heading over now to the 100 backstroke. And there we have our top three. Nasira Dutoy going up to collect the bronze medal when it comes to the women's 100-meter backstroke, S1 to S18 multi-class. Kat Swanepoel, a lady who certainly needs no introduction, going up to collect her silver medal. Well done to Kat. Another great performance from the lady from karting. Continues to defy the odds with a brilliant swim after a brilliant swim. Well, we didn't have to wait long to see this lady return to the top of the podium. She was just up there to collect her gold, and she's back to collect yet another gold. Danica Venka, lovely performance from her.
And that's what you call a perfect night. 2 swims, 2 golds.
Yep, what a start to the event for Danica Venka, swimming out of Tshwane. 17 years of age and with a massive future in front of her. Collecting gold in the women's 100 backstroke, S1 to S18 multi-class.
Come this way. Well done, ladies.
So one more set of medals to be handed out. This will be for the men's 100 backstroke, S1 to S15. Josh Nienaber going through to collect bronze. Swimming out of Central Gauteng. Nathan Hendricks going up to collect silver. The man from Tshwane. Congrats all round to the various medalists. But a rousing applause once again for who else but Christian Sadi from the Western Cape. Another goal to add to his rapidly growing collection.
Exactly, and he'll be swimming at another World Championships as well, which is going to be amazing for him. Singapore's a very special pool. It's a fast pool. Saw a lot of world records there at the Singapore leg of the World Cup. They often have a World Cup there to get the swimmers ready for the World Championships, and it's an incredibly fast pool, so I'm sure he will enjoy swimming there.
Congratulations to the various medalists going up to collect their gold, silvers and bronze. Thank you to the various dignitaries for doing the handovers here on the opening night of the SA Swim Champs 2025 here in Quebec. 2 more races to go, but a lot of swimmers featured because it is the relays.
And I think relays are a very important part. I know some people don't love doing them. They want to save themselves for the individual swims, but I think relays are really good to have at these events because they give some swimmers some extra swims. Other swimmers get to be part of teams, and it also gives medal opportunities to swimmers who may not be getting medals otherwise.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And I think it adds some team spirit to the entire event. As you can see, a few people have left on the stands, but there's still enough people here that we can hopefully get some spirit happening.
Yeah, without a doubt. It always does provide a tremendous element of excitement to cap off the evening. As you said, the teammates celebrating each other and egging each other on. It's great to see the camaraderie and the team spirit, like you say. I mean, it does hark back to old sporting days when it comes to inter-schools.
Well, I remember those inter-schools. I was born in Johannesburg, but later on I moved to East London and we swam for then Border, and it was always very fun watching Selborne versus, I think it was Dale and Hudson, and they used to have relays, but it was extraordinary because, of course, my dad was a swim coach and a lot of them used to swim for South Africa, and a few of them swam for Dale and a few of them swam for Selborne, and of course Stirling. And on paper, Stirling should never have beaten Selborne the 1 year. And unfortunately for the Selbornians, Stirling won. Well, they were not talking to each other the next day, and I don't think they spoke to each other for about a month until the coach had to step in because there was so much rivalry. Because on paper, Selborne never should have been beaten. So that rivalry is very strong.
So there was no Stirling silver, it was Stirling gold.
Exactly, for a change. And as I say, I don't think it's ever happened again in their relay history, especially not in the men, but that was very special. And we used to go up to Dale, and I think Selborne used to pack their two busfuls, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, this is going to be fast and furious. Exciting times ahead. It is the women's 4x100 freestyle relay.
So I expect Amy Canny to be the one leading them out, though we have Caitlin DeLange and we've got Jess Commody, who probably is looking to go quicker than her individual swim earlier this evening.
Just going through those teams once again, going down from heats from lanes 1 to 7. Western Cape B, Tshwane B, KZN, Western Cape A, Tshwane A, Ekurhuleni, and we do have the Eastern Cape represented by the likes of Fenta, Boduya, Spes and Lare. But out in front, no surprise early on in lane 5, Tshwane. So 8 laps in total for these swimmers, 2 apiece.
Gee, so that's Caitlin DeLange leading Amy Canny out there. But here comes Canny swimming a back end, being that 200 swimmer that she is. But I think DeLange's going to get her hand on the wall.
DeLange, oh, and as we say that, it looked like it, but I think DeLange did outtouch her, but immediately the Western Cape swimmer going through immediately into the water. So she was first into the water. And does this look like Michaela de Villiers? Actually, in fact, I think it is Georgia Nell who went into the water. Michaela de Villiers will be waiting for her. So some very good swims from Western Cape and Tshwane. The A sides, remember they've also got B sides represented in lanes 1 and 2 respectively.
Exactly, we see Erin Gallagher going there for Swanee, so she's now pulled ahead a little bit, I believe. But don't discount de Villiers in the water. Oh no, that's Georgia Nell, sorry, in the water. She's trying to get there, but it will be Erin Gallagher. Yeah,
it was. She hands over to Hannah Maton for Tshwane. And Western Cape, Michaela de Villiers keeping her honest, but this is going to be a straight shootout between these two swimmers. And as we see, Western Cape slightly edging ahead now. Michaela de Villiers looking very, very good.
Well, there's really nothing in it. We expected these two teams to be fighting it out, and I love seeing the rivalry. I think this really adds depth to our swimming. It shows you that we have a lot of good freestylers. It makes me really excited to see what they can do in the women's 100-meter freestyle. There'll be a fight for that A final.
Yeah, in terms of the other swimmers or the other teams, it really is a fight for third position. As we watch Western Cape now edging ahead. This is superb.
Wow.
From Michaela de Villiers.
This is really a swim, and I love to see it. You know, that third swimmer is always one of the most important swimmers of a relay.
And she hands over to Noblash now. Meanwhile, for Tshwane, it's Hannah Robertson who's anchoring matters. Who's going to come out on top between these two? Western Cape up against Tshwane. It's Western Cape, I was going to say slightly ahead, half a body length in front. And as we say that, Hannah Robertson certainly fighting her way back, closing that gap ever so slightly, but Western Cape still out. Oh, and we say Western Cape pulling away nicely now. 3:15.36 making the turn, almost 1 second clear of Tshwane, but Western Cape still out in front and getting further in front.
You can see the girls, they're watching on eagerly, but oh, Hannah Robertson's coming back. She's coming back.
Hannah Robertson fighting hard. This is a brilliant fight back from Tshwane. This is going to be a tight finish. Robertson fighting well, and she has got out in front. Tshwane pushing hard, and grabbing the victory.
And I don't think Erin Gallagher standing on the side here expected that. I think she was like, ooh, can we get there? And good on Hannah Robertson.
Wow.
So she swims under Dean Price, so I'm sure coach will be very happy with swimmer.
Well done. Tshwane grabbing the victory ahead of Western Cape. And over in third spot, it was Tshwane B, the team of Meyer, Straw, Venker, and French.
Which is exactly what I said. I said it's always interesting to see if the B team can get onto the podium, and there we have it. We see Tshwane B.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did do.
Get onto the podium.
A very good performance from them, but Tshwane A capturing the victory. Well done to the team once again of Caitlin DeLange, Erin Gallagher, Hannah Maton, and Hannah Robertson. That is the penultimate race of the night done and dusted, as we await the men to make themselves their way to poolside.
Very impressive swim there. I like seeing that a swimmer doesn't give up no matter how far behind they are. I know in Australia we sometimes don't always have the fastest 4 swimmers, but Australia has a swimmer called Kyle Chalmers, and if Chalmers is the 4th swimmer going into the water, I think Australia is pretty confident that he can catch anybody, and it just shows you, you know, in relays you swim into the wall and you don't give up.
Yeah, without a doubt. So
And
the
it
final
also-
race of the night, yes, you're saying?
And it also shows that even if your team is behind, you still have to do your part, because you have that 4th swimmer coming. So if the 2nd swimmer or the 3rd swimmer hadn't swum as hard as they had swum, they would have left it too much of a gap for that 4th swimmer to even have a chance. So I think that's why relay is so special. Every single swimmer is important.
Yeah, very much so. And we just saw how important that anchor was for Tshwane in Hannah Robertson. But as you heard Michelle mention earlier, that 3rd spot also vitally. I mean, well, every single leg when it comes to the relays, you can't discount anyone. As we move over to the men, the final race of the night, it is the men's 4x100 freestyle relay. Lane 1, Eastern Cape, represented by Chapman, Pretorius, Beat, and Pretorius. Western Cape B, Clark, Troa, Stain, and Moncherry. KZNA, Naidu, Gibson, Nokia, and Wimble. Western Cape A, Muller, Poole Jones, Estes, and Portkita. Tshwane A, Godfrey, Bornman, Kriya, Kutsa. Tshwane B, Dos Santos, Van Rensburg, Godfrey, Mahan, Ekeleni, Egger, Caldwell, Oliver, and Van Heerden. And that was Ekeleni A and Ekeleni B, Brady, Lotte, Turpin, and Dometer.
We see Swanee A and B right next to each other, so I'm sure they're going to be fighting it out. It's going to be really interesting to see. We see Peter Coetzee going in 4th for Swanee A, so that should be a really fast swim by him, because I know these boys only swim in the relay if they want to swim a fast time, so they're not going to be messing around here.
And there's no question that the Tshwane ladies, fresh from the water, would have gone over to their male counterparts and said, look, we did the job, it's now over to you. So can Tshwane pull up the double when it comes to the 4x100 freestyle relays? The women captured victory. Now it's over to the men, and a very good start from Tshwane. Blake Godfrey over in lane 5, going along rather nicely.
And you can actually see across the pool all these swimmers, because the nice thing is about a swimmer going off first for a relay is that their time actually counts to be
the individual's
their individual.
time.
So you can actually see every swimmer, they're fighting for it. Even here in lane 7, I think he's actually 2nd. So we have the middle of the pool there, which as you said was Swanee, but the rest of the swimmers aren't letting him get too far ahead.
Yeah, this is an incredible performance from Blake Godfrey as he hands over now to Aidan Bourneman.
And that's a sub 50, 49.56, which is a really good solid swim.
Sensational performance so far for Tshwane. We saw how well the women did, and the men looking to be going great guns so far here in Quebec. The final race of the night on day 1 of the SA Nationals.
But Swanee may be leading it, but you can see 4 teams behind there fighting for the next spots.
Yeah, that, the man closest, Anand van Rensburg, representing Tshwane B. We spoke about that fight between the different A and Bs.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so great, because you can imagine that B team's fighting to get into the A team, and they're right there fighting for 2nd place.
And at the moment it is Aidan Bourneman who is blitzing the opposition as Tshwane continue to dominate matters, heading over now to Ane Kriya. So a brilliant swim there.
And you can actually see how they distinguish between A and B, the A wearing the white NTS and the B wearing the blue NTS. So it's really cool how they even thought about giving the A and B different color caps.
Well, interesting. I saw a couple of swimmers change positions, and I saw Peter Coetzee walk past now, so it won't be him anchoring the leg this time round. But Tshwane is still out in front, and this is by miles. I'll be very surprised to see if they don't replicate what the women did a little earlier, as the final leg of Tshwane about to take to the water.
Well, here you can see their B team is getting up to their A team. So this is going to be really, really interesting.
It's a battle between the A and B when it comes to Twane. Forget about the battle between the men's and the women when it comes to Twane. A and B is fighting on.
Here we go. So you would almost think it's been done on purpose, even the way that they could have changed, because they really wanted the teams to be fighting against each other to go as fast as they can.
Well, that's exactly what is transpiring. Is it going to be Twane A? Is it going to be Twane B? Lanes 5 and 6 fighting it out, and chased by Ekaleni over in lane 7. But wow, listen to them screaming.
You could see a B team take. Oh no. This is very, very close, but I think the A team could get it, but he's not giving up.
No, he certainly isn't.
This is incredible.
Wow, just underlining the strength when it comes to Twane swimming.
Wow.
What's it going to be? A or B? A or B? And it goes the way of Twane A. Only just though.
0.17.
Twane A capturing the victory. The team of Blake Godfrey, Aidan Bourneman, Arno Kriya, and Peter Kutsia grabbing the win. And in second position was Twane B, the team of Gianna Dos Santos, Anand van Rensburg, Aidan Godfrey, and Tumelo Mahan. Wow.
And that's why we love relays. You know, you can take the team such as Swanee, and you know they've got that depth, they've got those numbers that come from there, and it makes relays really fun because no doubt the coaches said, you know what, we're going to put a little bit of game in this. We're going to see if you can beat. They definitely would have structured that way so that they had both teams versing each other.
Wow. What a race. And what a way to finish things up on the opening night of SA Swim Champs 2025 here in Quebec. Congratulations to the teams from Twane. Absolutely dominating matters in the relay in both the men's and the women's competitions, but especially the men's. Teams A and B capturing first and second position.
And who actually got third there?
And there we have a look back at Twane A and Twane B capturing first and second. And it was Ekaleni grabbing third, but it really was just that fight for first place between the two Twanes. At one stage, it looked as if Twane A would get a run away with things. But their teammates, and probably their closest competitors, you'd think, fighting back brilliantly towards the closing stages.
That was very, very impressive.
Wow. Gee, that was the tightest of finishes, as Twane A captured one to wrap up the night here in Quebec. Wow.
While we wait for the final medal presentations.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic night once again in Quebec. It's great to be back. Great to have this event down in the Eastern Cape. Keep on mentioning it, but the veritable home of this event.
And just looking ahead tomorrow, we have the women and the men's 200 IM coming up as the first event for day 2. We then have the multi-disability 100-meter fly from S1 to S15, followed by the men and women's 200-meter butterfly, the 50-meter backstrokes, the S1 to S15 50-meter flies, and then ending with the longest event of the pool, the 1500.
Yeah, so plenty to look forward to for tomorrow.
I don't think quite as exciting as what the first day has given us. I think it'll still be amazing, but I feel as though those 200 frees, the breaststrokes, they're very special races. But of course, you never know what tomorrow will bring. There's always surprises in the pool.
A big thank you once again to the officials, the timekeepers, who really give up their time, their efforts to ensure this event goes swimmingly, pardon the pun.
So looking ahead of tomorrow, we'll have Rebecca Meader in the woman, we'll have Erin Gallagher, and then we'll have Taylor Yonker, Milo Dracopoulos, and the winner of the 100 back for this evening, who was Jessica Thompson in the 50 of the women. And then, of course, you'll have Peter Coetzee backing up again in his 50, and I expect him to do really well in that 50. He's actually, you know, sometimes he can really come off getting very close to that world record in a 50.
Just looking back at some of the highlights that we witnessed this evening from all the action in the pool. This was earlier today. And we had action this morning with the heats. And then wrapping up with the finals this evening. Day 1 of 5 of the SA National Swimming Championships. Remember, we go all the way through to Sunday here in Quebec. If you're on the area, make sure to make your way down to Newton Park Swimming Pool. It is the absolute best that you can get when it comes to swimming in South Africa. So that is a wrap of proceedings for today,
Thank you for
day 1.
having me along for this evening, Derek. It's been an honor commentating with you.
Oh, it's been such a thrill having you here alongside me. It's been such a thrill having you alongside me, Michelle Grant. Thank you so much. You've been an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes to swimming. And thank you for joining us back home as we say good night from day 1 of the SA Swimming Champs here in Quebec.